These deficiencies are the new discovery that I have found of why my patients have low energy, are completely burnt out, and is probably also the same issues that you're experiencing. Now, when it comes to low energy, there is the physical low energy, and then there's mentally low energy, where you're just completely burnt out. I'm going to talk about both, but let's first talk about physical low energy. Now, most people think it's testosterone. I get a lot of males that'll come in and, hey, I think it's my low testosterone, but I'll tell you it's not. Over the several years of doing lab testing, I've seen only about less than 10% of people being low in testosterone. It's still a factor, but still, definitely there's a lot of other reasons of why you have low physical energy. Now, some other ones that people do talk about is like iron and vitamin B12, but I'll tell you, those are also not the main ones. It's not the new discovery that I have found, but I still have found that iron, about 18% of the people that we've tested are low in iron. So there's definitely a contributing factor to that. Vitamin B12, it's about 20 to 25% of the people that we've tested. So they're definitely contributing factors. And I definitely highly recommend to test. And if you're low in those things, that can be the culprit to your low energy and can make a huge difference. But one that's even a bigger issue is vitamin D, but it's still not the main one, but it's something that is a huge contributing factor to physical energy and even mental energy, because we have found that 29% of the people that we have tested have chronic low deficiencies in vitamin D. And so it's definitely a huge contributing factor. It really comes down to doing lab investigative work to see what are the imbalances. Now, I don't have time to go over all the different labs that I would look at when it comes to physical and also mental burnout and low energy. So you should download my free fatigue lab protocol guide, description below, that goes over all the different labs to help you identify what is going to be the root cause for you. Now, the number one when it comes to physical low energy that I have found over the years is cortisol. Is something that helps produce energy. It's what gets us up in the morning and it gets us to function throughout the day. And it's something that our adrenals produce, which is cortisol. So what I found in the society over the years, adrenal insufficiency syndrome is such a huge problem. In fact, 92% of the people that we have tested over the years have insufficient cortisol levels, where they're just plummeted, especially like in the morning, midday, and sometimes we'll even see it as issues at nighttime. So what do you do in this case? So there's several things that I do like doing. So it depends on where those levels are low, but if it's low in the first thing in the morning, what I'll usually implement is something like adrenal desiccated first thing in the morning, taking about 2 to 3 capsules in the morning, and then midday about 1 to 2 to help improve those cortisol levels. Now, keep in mind, this is something that you only want to do for about 3 months, because what you do need to be doing in the meantime is identifying what is sabotaging this. And typically it's going to be your environment, your relationships, where you work, that's constantly sabotaging your energy, but it's also maybe the consumptions that you're consuming of overstimulating, such as too much caffeine. If you're doing like 3-4 cups of coffee a day and you're doing energy drinks and all these different types of stimulants, it definitely will sabotage the adrenals from allowing to producing enough cortisol, and that could be the culprit. Now, some other things you can do besides not using adrenal desiccated is using like a high dose of echinacea and also ginseng. Both of these are great for helping supporting the adrenals to help improve cortisol levels. Now, what about having mental low energy, where you're just completely burnt out and you can't do a task? You're not motivated to finish up a project. This is where you're just mentally drained, right? So this is a different angle. It has to look at more of the brain chemical side of things, the new discoveries that I have found that can be contributing to this. And one of the big deficiencies is vitamin B6. Now, vitamin B6, we have found that about 60% of the people we've tested are low in this. And why is this so important when it comes to mental energy? It's because vitamin B6 is responsible for building and modulating a lot of important neurotransmitters. And these neurotransmitters is what helps us to have that mental energy, to finish projects, to be motivated, to be driven. And so it's definitely very vital. Now, some other ones, especially when we're talking about neurotransmitters, what we have tested and found is dopamine. About 48% of people are deficient in that, and that definitely can contribute to your mental burnout state when it's low. And another really big one is norepinephrine. Now, norepinephrine helps manage our stress, but it also can impact your mental energy. And we have found that 60% of people that we've tested are low in norepinephrine levels. Now, I get this is a lot of information and a lot of different testing. So if you want my help to identify the root causes to your mentally physical burnout state of why you're experiencing this, then you should book an assessment with me in the description below, where I can dive in deeper into your medical history to identify what it is and what lab testing we need to do so we can help you improve your energy and eliminate the symptoms you're experiencing with that. Now, I'm not done yet because I haven't gotten to the biggest ones that are the new discoveries that we have found over the years. And when we're thinking about mental low energy, a lot of people think of dopamine, but that was 48%. But what's even a bigger one is serotonin. In fact, 60% of the people we've tested had low serotonin levels. And that does impact our mental energy because serotonin is responsible for like motivation, drive, but it also can impact our mental capacity. But the biggest one that has a lot to do with our mental energy and capacity to do things is phenylethylamine. Now, that's an excitatory neurotransmitter that's responsible for motivation, drive, memory, to doing task initiation. So it's a very important excitatory neurotransmitter that we have found that 90% of people are deficient in this very specific thing. So if you're watching this, there's a very high likely chance that you are also deficient in this. Now, if you are struggling in this different capacity, whether that's mentally or physically low energy, then you should watch this video next where I go over the 10 proven supplements that I've used with my patients to help eliminate their fatigue. So watch this video next.